Hello, my name's Jenny Luscombe and I have been running a healing business for about 7 years now, and I've been on a self-healing journey for about 10. Now, I've just written a course, and this course is called Free Therapy Forever, a crash course in sovereignty, self-healing and self-mastery. Now, not many people know this, but we can actually heal ourselves. And the reason that we don't know this is because a lot of this has been hidden from us and it's surfacing big time. And I've decided to write a course to teach people how to do this. Now, I'm an EFT practitioner, which stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. This is also known as tapping therapy. I'm also a therapist of the emotion code and quantum healing. Now, EFT utterly changed my life, and in so many ways, and I'll tell you more about that later. I've always been drawn to tricks and techniques that self-empower, and I know that putting all of your focus on the external and hoping that medical professionals and mainstream therapists are going to help you, some of them are brilliant, but generally it's not happening. And I think actually the main reason is, the system's broken, obviously. But as well as that, if we're seeking outside of ourselves, those people don't understand us like we understand ourselves. We might feel like we don't understand ourselves, but we can learn. And that's why I've written this course. So I've been doing therapy with people for 7 years, and I've learned so much. And I'm starting to teach people how to do that themselves now, because EFT and the emotion code and quantum healing as well are all techniques, ways that we can learn ourselves. And the age of putting our focus outside of us and expecting other people to help us in the ways that we need and want is over. It's now the age of sovereignty. The emotional dark age is over, and the repercussions of that are huge, and I want people to be self-empowered. So healing with energy is the way forward. Now, a lot of people don't really understand energy. They don't understand what that is. A lot of people don't even think that exists. Energy is emotion. Energy is frequency. Now that I understand 10 years on from the beginning of my journey, now I understand that everything is energy. Everything is frequency. I've realised that this course that I've written can solve any problem. It can solve any emotional problem, any mental problem with your thinking, your thoughts, your beliefs, any physical problem. Physical issues in your body are a manifestation of trapped emotion that hasn't been acknowledged. Any spiritual issue, any circumstantial issue with relationships, with work, with living conditions. Everything is energy, everything is frequency. We can change that. No one else can change that for us. We can change it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my course, and I'm going to suggest a few things to you so that you can see whether or not you're in the right place. So some questions that I'll ask people if they're interested in my course is, are you increasingly overwhelmed by chronic stress? And that manifests in many ways. Are you increasingly overwhelmed by disease in your body, symptoms, difficult life events, emotional, mental, physical symptoms? Also, it might be that you feel like you're in the wrong relationship, the wrong job, the wrong life. Now, it's also possible that you might fear that this powerlessness that you're feeling and this stuck feeling, that's going to last forever, and it might feel like at the moment there's no way out, and that you're not quite sure how to access the life that you desire, and you're fearing that actually you never will. I've been there, and it's frightening. It's possible also, if this course is for you, that you have felt very disempowered by your medical services. Perhaps your doctor has said to you, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing wrong with you. Or even worse, there's no cure for what you have. Now, that it was just the same for me. Now, all of those things have happened for me, which is how I've ended up where I am. And it's become my life's purpose and my mission spiritually to help as many people learn the skills that I've learned along my way, because it's so effective and it's so easy. It's so much more simple than people think. Healing has been overcomplicated by a lot of people. Healing is just awareness. Now, when we're not healing and we're in survival mode, we're not in a healing state, it's because there's something we're not aware of. So this course teaches you how to surface subconscious information into your conscious mind so that your subjective experience becomes objective, so that you receive information from your subconscious mind which creates resolution, and it gives you the answers that you're looking for. So it helps you figure out what you didn't know that you didn't know. So I discovered that we can heal everything ourselves. We can heal with energy. Now, I went on a healing journey and loads of things happened to me accidentally. I accidentally healed my own chronic back pain that my doctor told me that I would have forever and it would only get worse. I also accidentally reversed my own aging process. I look younger now than I looked 10 years ago, and I never set out to do that. It happened as a result of what I was doing. I also lost weight without even trying. And I didn't diet, I didn't exercise. The weight just came off as I was releasing negative emotion. So using this breakthrough, I then went on to heal my own complex PTSD symptoms. Once I understood the secret, I also healed postnatal depression and anxiety disorder without any pharmaceutical drugs. So the good news here is that I can show you. I can show you how I did it so that you can regain your health and your sovereignty too, without it taking 10 years of research like it did for me. So, my name's Jenny Luscombe. I'm 50 years old. I was 50 a couple of weeks ago. I'm now enjoying life. I'm free from chronic pain that my doctor told me I'd have forever. I haven't actually seen a doctor for 10 years. I have zero pain in my body now, zero health issues. I'm free from depression and anxiety. I'm free from disempowering work situations and relationships. I've left behind 2 disempowering careers, a broken marriage, a boatload of unbalanced and abusive relationships, including some immediate family, which is very taboo, but sometimes that is necessary. I'm now independent, self-employed. I finally understand myself. I'm a better mum. I'm continuing to work on the PTSD symptoms, and it's nothing like it used to be. And I know that it's a lifelong journey that I'm happy to be on. I feel lighter physically and emotionally because I learned how to heal everything with energy myself. I never took any pharmaceuticals. I don't believe in them, and I don't need them, and I didn't need them. So from working in the systems for 14 years, I worked in education as a teacher, and I worked for the NHS mental health services in Liverpool. From this 14 years, I saw what didn't work, and it taught me a thing or two. And it also sent me on a quest. I was searching for, I wanted to discover what the real solutions were, because I intuitively knew that they were there, and they have been hidden from us. So I chose not to have my story decided for me when my doctor told me I would have that pain forever. Now I found empowerment, and I now understand what to do with negative emotion and PTSD triggers and difficult life circumstances. Now, negative emotion is just what people refer to as energy. This course teaches you what to do with the emotion. And most people on this planet, even mental health professionals, don't know what we're supposed to do with emotion. And none of us were taught. Energy is just emotion. I know how to move through emotion now, enabling my evolution and my potential, instead of trying not to feel and getting stuck trying not to feel, trying not to face reality. That's where humanity is right now. So learning how to heal with energy is just learning how to work with your emotion, and that's what I'm teaching. So you're actually not powerless. You feel like you are, and that needs to be acknowledged, but you're not powerless to having everything decided for you. Please don't outsource your physical and emotional well-being. Please don't outsource your life to someone else. Don't let them tell your story. I didn't. So rewind 10 years ago, everything was wrong for me. I was unhappy in a marriage and a career that were not serving me at all. I struggled with multiple health issues, chronic back pain that limited me, made me feel old, postnatal depression, anxiety disorder, basically a nervous breakdown. I also had overwhelming PTSD symptoms, which I didn't understand at the time. I never went and got a diagnosis because I knew it wasn't going to do me any good. But I now realise that I was denying, suppressing, rejecting, disowning, and avoiding the emotion that I was feeling because I didn't think it was okay, and it was scary. So look at your own life. Do you have a growing list of health problems and conditions? Sadly, this seems to be normalised now in our society, and people are kind of just accepting that that's just what happens to you as life goes on. It's not normal, and there's a way out. So I never saw a doctor about any of the mental and emotional stuff that was going on for me. I've got a background in psychology, and having worked in a UK NHS psychiatric hospital for a few years, I knew that they would just prescribe me with pharmaceuticals. And intuitively and from experience, it had become obvious to me that doctors and psychiatrists were just focusing on surface symptoms and not even seeming to be interested in looking for a root cause. And I knew how pointless that approach was, and I saw a million times over that it just made people pop the pills, it disempowered them, nothing changed. It kind of just kept them disconnected from themselves, if anything. And I witnessed this on repeat for years of working in the system. And also it became clear to me that a lot of mainstream therapists are basically saying to their clients, your reality is wrong. You need to stop doing that. You need to come and join me in my reality over here. Now, it doesn't work. It's never going to work. That's the opposite of what people in pain need. So it seemed obvious to me that anyone, whoever they are, they just need to be met. They need to be met and understood and validated and heard and seen and understood in their pain, in their experience. They just require attention, acknowledgement, understanding. Being made wrong and bad and being punished for what you're going through and being told that what you're going through is wrong is going to keep you there. Resistance is the cause of all of this. So there was a lot wrong with what I was seeing and how patients were being treated. I just remember thinking, don't they just need love? And I found the system very shocking and abusive and punitive. But anyway, that was mental health. I naively thought that my GP, my doctor, could help me with my back pain. So off I went. And to my horror, he said these exact words to me. Well, Jenny, you're not even 40 yet. If you have pain like this before you're even 40, I'm afraid it's all downhill from here. You're likely to have it forever. And it was the most disempowering conversation that I've ever had. That was the healer in my life. So I was at a choice point, and I didn't really understand it at the time. Everything that happened next kind of happened naturally for me. So I could have believed this prophet of doom, this authority that was external to me, or I could trust myself. Now, I wanted to trust myself and choose a different path, and I kind of accidentally did that. So I was seeing a counsellor about my mental health, my emotional health, and I learnt about EFT, emotional freedom techniques, that basically tapping on meridian points on your face and upper body. At the time, I was just totally exasperated. I couldn't lift up my daughter. I couldn't put on my own socks. I couldn't turn over at night without waking up in pain. But I kind of put my physical problems on the back burner. And, you know, I thought I needed help from someone external to me. I thought, you know, there was nothing in my head that made me believe that there was anything that I could actually do myself. I didn't feel powerful. So as soon as I discovered EFT, and as soon as the lady that I was seeing said it stands for emotional freedom techniques, I knew that emotional freedom was what I was looking for. I heard it loud and clear. It was like the bells in heaven rang, and I was like, that's what I'm looking for. And it did suit me to go and privately work on myself. You know, I didn't know that, but it did, as it turned out. So the therapist that I was seeing about my mental and emotional stuff, she recommended it to me. She said, Jenny, you can go and learn to do this yourself. You can watch free YouTube videos. You can tap along with the videos. You can read books about it. It's a self-help technique. So to be honest, I was very skeptical. And I thought, you know, how am I going to heal all of this myself by tapping on my face when I don't understand why any of this is happening? And, you know, I thought I needed somebody external. But as it turned out, I began to experience the most profound shifts of consciousness. I was gobsmacked, and I just thought, like, why is this not in hospitals? Why is this not in schools? I didn't understand it. You know, EFT actually has been suppressed, but I didn't know at that time that it had been. And I was experiencing so much relief. I just kind of felt, you know, how is this even possible? So a couple of years on, I knew that I had to train as a practitioner because I was healing myself. It was obvious. My life was changing. I was feeling completely different. I was back in the driver's seat. So I started to focus on my negative emotion as a daily practice. And I started to feel better, not just emotionally, but also physically. And I thought to myself, like, EFT stands for emotional freedom techniques, not physical freedom. It was beyond my belief system that tapping and focusing on my emotion and processing that could help my body. But it did. And I remember asking my EFT trainer about it. I said to her, you know, is it possible that this EFT is helping my back pain? And she said, of course, Jenny. She said, all that back pain was just your unexpressed negative emotion. And it was manifesting in your back physically. And it doesn't need to be there now that you've heard the message. And you've expressed and understood the emotion that was causing it. And the beliefs that were causing it, you've unwound them. So I thought, wow, you know, that was when I realised that we could heal with energy anything ourselves, and that every physical issue has an emotional component, which is pretty much unacknowledged by traditional medicine. So when I had been denying how bad things were for me, and I didn't understand it, and I wasn't dealing with my overwhelm, my body had been showing it to me, and it had all been held by my body until I was ready to deal with it. And until I was ready and capable of getting that message. So my body had been screaming at me about my past. Look at this. Look at this. But I wasn't looking because I was in denial and I was pushing it away. So now, you know, 10 years on, I'm determined to teach people how to do this. That obviously there's plenty of people out there using the same ways as me, but you know, there are many ways. This is not the only way. This is the way that I'm teaching you because it worked for me. So this work in this course, it actually deprograms you. And whether we like it or not, whether we choose to admit that or not, whether we're ready to do that, and it's fine wherever you are, but this work deprograms you. It actually deprograms you. So how it works is the cells of your body are holding the trauma of your life. And if you do this inner emotional work, you become more and more immune, not only to every physical and emotional condition in existence, but also to the external control of anyone around you, including and especially the governments and the matrix. So when you release limiting beliefs that you had about yourself, you change your energy, you change your frequency, and you change your reality. You become completely authentic, you become your own authority, you self-govern, you are safe, you are sovereign, you are source, you are free. So this inner work releases trapped emotion, and it helps you release limiting beliefs that you didn't know were there, because they're kind of like the filters that you're witnessing the world through. So limiting beliefs sound something like, I'm just not good enough, or, whatever I do, nothing works. There are millions of them. So when you release these limiting beliefs, you change your energy. And basically, when you have these releases, everything that was preventing you from taking the inspired action, the inspired decisions, the choices, the behaviors that are aligned with the true you that's underneath all of this, these like obstructions just fall, and they're just not there anymore. So this is how to get out of the matrix. And it is a thing. So I never planned any of this. It all happened for me so that I could teach you. And I never knew any of this was going to happen when I started out. It was beyond my belief system. I just wanted some tools to feel better. And I now know that in order to feel better, we have to get better at feeling. I never expected a spiritual awakening. I never expected expansion beyond my wildest dreams. I didn't even know what that meant. I wasn't even aware of it. So this deep healing of everything that held me back changed everything. So perhaps you've heard people talk about inner work, shadow work, working on yourself, and you've wondered, what is that? What does that mean? And I've seen a lot of people on forums saying, how do you do the inner work? Like, what is that? So this is what I'm revealing to you in this course, and I'm giving you the steps to do that yourself. So the shadow, or the subconscious mind, as it's more widely known, it's not bad and it's not sinister. It's just a storage place. And it's a storage place for aspects of you that were not safe to exist at a specific time with specific people. Now, predominantly, your subconscious mind is full of things that happened from birth to 7 years old. Now, there are aspects of us that we suppressed and we pushed down for many, valid reasons. We didn't do it to sabotage ourselves. We did it to stay safe. We had to. And once you've suppressed these aspects of you, they don't go anywhere. They just become invisible to you. So there's kind of lost versions of you. And they're not always negative versions of you. Sometimes they're extremely positive versions of you that people around you couldn't handle at the time because of what they were going through. So the child version of you, your inner child, separated itself from a lot of their vulnerabilities and needs, but also strengths and qualities. So I wonder what you might find in there once you get going with this. And I wonder who you really are. I remember wondering who I really was before I went on this journey, because I did feel disconnected from myself. So it took about 6 months to a year of my daily practices, healing with energy, focusing inward on my emotion, to have the effect of actually healing the back pain until it was gone. It took about a year and a half of focusing inward, healing with energy, listening to and validating the emotion that I was experiencing and figuring out limiting beliefs before people started to comment on how I was looking younger. And it was as much of a surprise to me as it was to them, and I couldn't really explain it. But anyway, the major healing breakthrough that I had, and this is a necessary epiphany that is required for people to understand what they're doing and why. The major healing breakthrough that I had when I first started all of this, which I want you to know in every fibre of your being, is I vividly remember working on myself, and then I suddenly got it. And the epiphany was, oh, You're supposed to feel the emotion. You're supposed to feel the emotion. You're supposed to go into the emotion, not try and get rid of the emotion. Because if you're trying to get rid of the emotion, you're denying that it's there. Now, it seems subtle, but we've been taught that going into the emotion is going to make the emotion worse. The opposite happens. A beautiful thing happens when you go into the emotion. You receive information. It unlocks you. So it was then that I realised that I'd been obsessively trying to stop the emotion from happening for 35 years. I was pretending, I was suppressing, I was denying, I was disowning, I was rejecting, I was avoiding. Is this what you're doing? Are you trying not to feel it? Or are you allowing yourself to feel it? Think about that. Because if you're not allowing yourself to feel it, that's why you're stuck. If you have unresolved emotional or physical pain or symptoms of disease that you are stuck in and that just seem to be getting worse, then this is what you're doing. You're not feeling. That's going to keep you stuck forever. You need to heal with energy. Just listen to your emotion. This is what I'm teaching you in this course. And it should have come naturally. If we'd all been taught this when we were kids, none of us would have any issues. But as it turns out, we all do. So I hadn't been able to be with myself while I was feeling all of that awful stuff from the past. I'd been stuck in avoiding it and suppressing it and pretending it wasn't happening. That's why my body and my life had become a total mess. So I can't tell you the relief that I felt when I started to value the emotion, welcome it, and address it, and receive the information as if they're messengers, and welcome them, and move towards them instead of away from them, realizing that it was happening for me and not against me. This is when you realize that you've been against yourself the whole time, and that's why you're stuck. So I realised that most people on earth didn't know what to do with their emotion, including doctors, including mental health professionals across the world in the mental health field. A radical shift of perspective is already happening and is required. So it's actually in the act of allowing the emotion that you begin receiving information from your subconscious that you didn't know. And this enables the emotional state to leave and transmute and change into something else. And emotion is layered like an onion. So once you've been in the emotion, it will turn into something else. Then it will turn into something else. Then it will turn into something else. So effectively, you can transform terror into peace if you just follow the emotion. And it's happening for you. Your subconscious mind wants you to heal. It's leading you and guiding you. And I can teach you how to do that. So these emotions, they can't leave until you've seen them, heard them, understood the information that they carry. They have a purpose. They are functional. And no one taught us. But I'm teaching you now. So every trauma or difficult situation left a mark on us. So in that moment of trauma, the child version of us froze, or they shut down. They went into fight, flight, freeze. They made decisions about themselves because that thing happened. They made it mean something about them that that thing happened. So these decisions sound something like, oh, because that happened, I mustn't be good enough. Or because that person said that about me, I'm vowing never to open my mouth in front of other people again. We make decisions when we're kids that affect the rest of our lives if we don't go back and look after that child. So there's nothing wrong or bad about you. There never was. We all grew up in dysfunctional families because none of us knew how life works. We all have fragmented parts because we were all socialised on this planet. And that involved us having to shut down parts of us that were not approved of, by the people who were supposed to be keeping us safe. We also ended up exaggerating aspects of us that were approved of by the people around us, and we had to abandon ourselves to survive. And so did our parents, and so did their parents, and their parents' parents. So this is where we are. So when we experience trauma, we make a contract with ourselves that endures within our subconscious mind, and it limits our potential every single day until we realise it's there. So this is what our emotions are for. They are our guidance system. And if we don't listen, we stay lost. We've been putting ourselves on mute for way too long. So this is the information that everyone on the planet needs to know in order for life to work again. And you're not going to hear this from your doctor. What if your doctor doesn't have anywhere near the full story? They don't. But you do. You do, though. You. So who knows your full story better than you? What if you've been handing over your personal power to an authority outside of you instead of accessing your own authority? And it's all there in your body like an archive, waiting for you to be ready. So what if you could do a better job? And I know you can. So the solution to all of your problems, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, everything, work, life, relationships. The number one cause for all human suffering is not our trauma and our negative emotion itself. It's our resistance to the trauma and the negative emotion. We were never taught that negative emotion is just a temporary experience. It's temporary. And it's designed perfectly for us to move through to receive the information we need, which enables our evolution and our expansion and our true potential to be activated and revealed to us. It's temporary, but what we're all doing is making it permanent. We're making it permanent in our body by not addressing it, not looking at it, not expressing it, denying it, repressing it, disowning it. It's supposed to be temporary, and we're making it permanent. Nobody taught us that this is how life works. So with this course, Free Therapy Forever, a crash course in sovereignty, self-healing and self-mastery, I can show you how to be the antidote. I can lead you back to yourself. So we received messages from everywhere in the external world that emotion is to be avoided at all costs. We've been told it's antisocial, particularly emotions like anger. You know, anger is the most socially unacceptable emotion there is. Like, anger actually shows you where your boundaries are. It shows you when you're being abused. Anger keeps you safe. Anger is a powerful emotion. We need anger. We need to process anger. So we've been taught that emotion is antisocial, that it's shameful, that it's embarrassing, that it's weak, that it's unacceptable, and the list goes on, and we've all got our own we've all got our own limiting beliefs about emotion, what we inherited from our particular families. So the system is designed to actually keep us all sick and medicating, and we've been led away from ourselves big time. So I learned in my 20s in the NHS that people's health certainly isn't the main priority of pharmaceutical companies, for example. It was money. I mean, you know, I was asking a psychiatrist some questions. I was in my 20s. I wanted to understand how he was prescribing pharmaceuticals, like what was his basis for deciding what he was giving to people. And he said, "No, Jenny, we just give them what's cheap." So there didn't seem to be any science or any pattern in what was prescribed. You know, I was looking for science. I was looking for consistency and, like, you know, there must be something in this, but no. And, you know, that's actually been my life my whole working life, I've been looking under the floorboards and seeing like how the systems work, and like none of it's made any sense to me at all. So, like a magpie, I've put together and I've curated this course through 10 years of personal research around trauma, spirituality, emotion, self-healing tips, the right questions to ask yourself, the shadow work prompts, healing with energy work techniques, wisdom and knowledge from many, all sorts of different people and places, as well as 7 years of experience of building my business and helping my clients to heal themselves. So that your journey doesn't have to be as difficult or to like take as long as mine took. So I'm happy to present this course to you. I'll tell you a little bit about it in more detail. So it's called Free Therapy Forever, a crash course in sovereignty, self-healing and self-mastery. So in the course, I'm using a combination of somatic body work, EFT tapping, focused questioning, contemplation and presence with yourself and your emotion. And I show you how to make the subconscious conscious. This is how to heal with energy. And it's so much easier than you think. So I'm providing you with the inner work and the shadow work prompts, giving you a structure. And this is like a bridge to your own process. So I'm showing you how, step by step, what you have to do to get empowered and on the self-healing path as soon as possible, so that you can regain control, access relief and hope and excitement and more peace straight away. So the more you commit to yourself, the more you will heal and the better that your life will get. You are the one that you're waiting for. I'm teaching you to be your own guru. So this will help you restore your own sense of authority, autonomy, sovereignty. Using these tools to do the inner work daily will help you get out of victim mode, victim mentality. It will help you regain control. You will feel improvement immediately. And as soon as you start to feel that, you will be so motivated, I can't tell you. And you will want to embrace the changes that you're looking for. Change can sometimes feel difficult, but staying in a state of stagnation and not changing is worse. It's so much worse. So I'm teaching you not to run away from yourself anymore. Self-mastery feels so much better than the unsafe, fearful vulnerability of depending on the system, depending on the external, and needing to be rescued, basically. So the system is broken, and it should be. And until we accept that, we're going to stay stuck. No one's coming. No one's coming to save you. The thing that rescues you is your sense of your own internal freedom. Find the freedom to be who you really are. Maybe for the first time ever. So this will help you discover an increasing flow of abundance as the universe co-creates with you. This will help you start to uncover and release and recognize and value and harness your desires, your own desires, your boundaries, your preferences, your wishes, your will, your impulses, through inspired action, self-discipline, focus, and allowing. Listen, see, hear, recognize, validate, acknowledge, support, touch all these selves. You're going to be working with lots of different selves. It's kind of like time traveling, going back in time, having a proper look at what went on. All the versions of you that were hurt by life have got good reason to feel the way that they feel. It's all valid. None of it is wrong or bad. Those child versions of you, those inner adults, inner children, they're not wrong or bad for feeling or for getting stuck. Those parts of us need to be witnessed and heard and seen and loved before we can fully get on board with ourselves and our life. So all you have to do is witness and observe them. That's it. And this in itself helps to bring you the awareness and the resolution and the closure that changes your life. So I'm teaching you to be there completely with yourself because no one else was. So these parts of you have been frozen in time, frightened children. All physical, mental and emotional health issues and physical pain, particularly autoimmune disease, they're all just ways that your body is showing you that it's all just your body's way of showing you that to stay safe in your childhood, you had to turn against yourself and, and shut down. We all did. We're coming out of the emotional dark age and we all need reparenting. We all have unmet needs, which began in childhood. This course teaches you how to reparent yourself retrospectively. So if you're essentially attacking yourself with your thoughts, your feelings and your emotions, then your body has to reflect that. That's how it works. So your body will reflect physically whatever you're doing on repeat in your mind, in your mental body, in your emotional body. So you can think a negative thought so often that you actually make it solid and permanent in your body. That's what physical symptoms are. They're thoughts that you've thought on a loop. Now, thoughts become things and not always good ones. So there's a nocebo effect as well as a placebo. And it is the opposite effect of a placebo. It creates pain instead of healing. So if you want to find out more about that, Dr. Bruce Lipton would be a good person to research, actually. So I can help you to step out of where you are and to create change. It's never too late. It's never too late. What I'm doing here in this course is going way beyond teaching you how to cope. None of you just want lives that you can learn to cope with. That's not what life is for. You want actual profound change and permanent healing, and this course will give you that. I will show you exactly what I did to heal myself. And there are other ways, there's multiple different ways, but this is the way that worked for me. So my emphasis on this course is in how you engage with yourself, the questions you ask, and particularly how to work somatically, harnessing the natural intelligence of your body through tapping. Your body knows the score, and it's archived everything that you have ever experienced. All the answers that you need are actually inside of you, which is why looking outside of you doesn't work. So all the answers you need for permanently healing your core wounds are within you. This course leads to permanent healing. I'm showing you how to receive the exact information from your body that are the keys for your expansion and self-mastery. I can't do it for you, but I'm giving you the tools. The only one who can do this is you. So in this course, you'll be tapping on meridian points on your face and your upper body while speaking out loud about what you're experiencing in your life, currently and in the past. So the tapping itself reduces the stress hormone cortisol, which is responsible for all negative emotions. And this is what causes the fight, flight, freeze response when you are triggered. Now, as this cortisol comes down by sometimes about 40%, your body comes out of survival mode into a healing state. Now, this healing state kickstarts the body's natural healing intelligence, this natural healing mechanism. So when you tune into yourself, into your painful circumstances which are causing you to be in survival mode, from a healing state, while you're tapping, you have to experience a repatterning of your neuro pathways because you're focusing on survival mode stuff from a healing state. Those two states cannot coexist. It has to repattern your body. So those negative thoughts on a loop can no longer exist in the same way when you do this. So through deeper awareness of them, you interrupt the stories that you're telling yourself because you now receive more information that changes the story. You start to write your own story from a place of awareness and autonomy instead of letting other people tell your story. So the subjective child experience becomes more objective. and then you receive clarity and understanding and resolution, and peace replaces the tension. So, this course is informal and it's experiential. Apart from the notes and the timestamps with the videos, there are no worksheets or documents to go through. The course is comprised of 7 videos. There's a little bit of information with each video, but I've intentionally, because I didn't want to impose any limitations on your own sovereign process, I've intentionally made it really simple, because you're the one doing the work. You basically need a notebook and pen, maybe a box of tissues. The structure is going to help you do your own work. This is your own sovereign process that causes you to change your own life. So this isn't like a course where you get a certificate at the end. It's a course where you just do it. You just keep doing it. You keep doing it and you keep doing it, and you're working through your stuff and you're making your own notes and you're working on whatever thing is facing you at the time. Work from your present moment. That's the best way to do it. So the healing happens as soon as you start to engage. It's not a course where you're going to get a certificate at the end. You know, it's my intention that you work through it all on repeat enough times at your own pace until you make it your own process. And you'll no longer need to look at the videos, because you'll know what to do and you'll be tuning into yourself. And it's a skill. It's a skill like that you learn and get better at. So I've provided you with the information, the structure, the shadow work prompts, the guidance to get started, and then please make it your own for the rest of your life. The prompts and the structure will fall away once you find your own way. That's my intention. So this inner work, it never ends. It just changes, and the better it gets, the better it gets. The more you put in, the more you commit to yourself, the better your life will get. So it won't take long before you experience some kind of trigger in your life, and then just by focusing inward for a few minutes, you'll be able to understand where that came from and what to do about it. So if you can start healing yourself on the go as you go along in life, I can't tell you how powerful that approach is. So 3 of the videos are, the first 3 are for information gathering. There's the introduction video, there's a video about not being able to feel your feelings, and there's another video about projection. Now these 3 videos give you starting points, and there are questions, and I'm teaching you how to get clues from your environment and from other people. So these are designed for you to keep pausing the video to reflect and to answer questions as they apply to you, and to make notes. Then these notes will be your hit list that you can systematically work through. So when you realise something about you that's true, write it down, and then you can use that for your tapping. So this will give you your hit list of what to focus your healing on if you didn't already have one. So obviously you're going to come with your own list, but watch the first 3 videos to make notes and then get your expanded hit list. Okay, so then there are 3 more videos giving you 3 separate processes with step-by-step instructions where you can work on your own issues while you're tapping, following along with the processes. So one of them is teaching you how to do inner child work, identifying and healing the emotional root to your issue. There's another one teaching you how to do a process called parts work. Now, parts work will lead you to success. Parts work is amazing, and I don't think most therapists in the world are doing this. It's mind-blowing. Now, even the most resistant clients that I've had, this works for them. So parts work is a great one to use in relation to any times that you feel like you're sabotaging yourself. Self-sabotage, procrastination, addiction, finding it hard to make decisions, anywhere that you're torn between 2 motivations. Parts work, it's profound and so simple. And then the video at the end is teaching you to use some acceptance tapping, because sometimes once you've done a lot of healing, sometimes you're still finding it hard to accept the thing that happened. Now, this is so powerful. Now, there's another video that I've included, which is the second video. And this is a video of me self-healing in front of you, live, like working on 2 issues of my own to show you what the inner work looks like, to show you that it's basically just a person talking to themselves, tapping on their face. So this was very hard for me to do, and it involved me being vulnerable. So I used the two main processes: inner child work, finding and healing the emotional root, and parts work on 2 issues that I was going through at that time. So you can feel into the experience of what this work looks like and what's involved. Okay. So I actually think I've thought of everything here. All the pieces that I've included have been vital parts of my puzzle. And there are millions and multiples of different paths. And you've got your path. This is just the way that worked for me. So a lot of my clients over the years have also taught me what works and what doesn't work. So you're going to benefit from that experience. The sequence of the videos is quite important. And it's been meticulously planned that way to assist the natural flow of your healing experience. So try and stick to that order. Once you figure out what works, then obviously make it your own. So the introduction is really detailed, and it gives you an overview of where this can take you, and it shows you what's possible once you raise your frequency and your life starts to work for you again. The example of my self-healing teaches you the power of this work, and it shows you what surfacing subconscious information and healing actually looks like. And I'm happy to share that I no longer have either of those issues. So the information gathering from the video about not being able to feel your feelings, that irons out any reasons why the processes might not work for you. So that video is powerful because many of us are blocked. So please start with that one. Learning about projection teaches you how to receive clues from your environment about your blind spots. I don't know any other therapists who are using parts work, so go for it. It's profound. It's shocked me how simple that process is. I wish I'd discovered that like so many years ago. So parts work and inner child work, both therapeutic processes of my choice. You know, they're so powerful, and the reason why they work is because time doesn't actually exist. When your body is tuned into your inner child's unmet needs, and then you are helping to meet those unmet needs because no one else did, your body doesn't know that that isn't really happening back then, because for your body, time doesn't exist. So it's the same as like when you're in bed and you're asleep and you're dreaming. Now, you might be having a dream that someone's pushing you off the edge of a cliff. Now, your body back in bed doesn't know that that's not really happening. So you might wake up in a sweat, like in survival mode, like shouting or screaming, like feeling highly anxious, full of terror. Your body doesn't know that that's not really happening. It's the same. It's the same with using tapping. It's the same with any kind of inner child work, any kind of therapeutic process where you're working somatically with your body. Your body doesn't have a concept of time. So when you're looking at and bringing awareness to something real that really happened, you're pulling the plug out, literally pulling the plug out. So acceptance, that I've included at the end, it's a key piece, and it mops everything up. So please always use the acceptance video after you've finished working on any issue. So sometimes acceptance involves seeing how there are positives, there's good in the thing that happened that felt disempowering. There's always good things that come out of trauma. And it's hard, but it works wonders, and it helps with acceptance. So where we are in this time in history, I know that the UK government has pumped loads of money into CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, which, you know, it has its place and a lot of people find some success with that. But I believe that it has its limitations, and I think that's because it only really engages the conscious mind, and sometimes it encourages clients to actually oppose themselves, which is never going to work. And the conscious mind is only 5 to 10% of the full capacity of consciousness of what's going on for you. And it certainly doesn't drive the majority of your behaviours, thoughts, actions, choices, decisions. So what's the point? You know, I can't see how that can work. So when people do get results from that, it tends to be temporary. Now, with any kind of subconscious work, with EFT, it engages your full consciousness. Your subconscious mind needs to be engaged to receive permanent healing. So I know that EFT, it was and it still is deliberately suppressed by the government because they know it works. And the organisation NICE, they've refused to acknowledge its full effectiveness, even though the successful, significant peer-reviewed studies outnumbered the ones for CBT again and again and again over the years. I've been observing this situation with interest for a long time. So if you've been stuck using mainstream techniques and wondering why nothing changes, it's because they don't harness the subconscious like these techniques that I'm teaching you. So your subconscious mind has been running the show all your life. It's 90 to 95% of your consciousness capacity. So let's engage with that. So come and see what all the fuss is about. So I'm generously offering this course to you that you can keep forever, free therapy forever, for £111. Yes, really. Now, the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm eagerly imagining how the world will look when we all exist in a space of sovereignty and we're accessing our best lives, we're all reaching our full potential. That's where I want to be. It's time for a win-win world. The age of I win, you lose is over. Win-win is totally possible. And I want as many people to access this course as possible. And I'm so excited. So when you start to do this inner work, you start to upgrade yourself, your friends and family will also benefit in what seems like magical ways. So this is basically the cost of one therapy session. And you will have access to this on repeat forever. You can hit the ground running, knowing that all bases are covered. I've already anticipated and resolved for you the major blocks to healing with knowledge and information that I've understood from actually working with a lot of veterans and people that are highly resistant to therapy. I've solved all the problems for you in advance. I'm showing you what our reality really is showing us. What self-healing looks like from a live self-healing session. I'm providing you with the right questions to ask yourself. Tried and tested processes that even the most resistant and traumatized folk are finding success with. So if you struggle with any emotional, mental, physical disease, symptoms, relationship issues, work problems, living conditions issues, negative circumstances, financial problems, addiction, self-sabotage, decision-making issues, procrastination, identity level, core beliefs about yourself, lack of confidence, and so on and so on, this is your solution. All you need is you. All you ever needed was you. No one knows your story like you. No one really understands you like you. Where else have you seen an offer that can help you with practical solutions that can bring you permanent healing from any emotional, physical, circumstantial or relationship issue? You'll have access to the know-how, step by step, 10 years worth of experience and wisdom, everything that you need to start to feel better and to get better at feeling, shifting your symptoms and your life. So this is your opportunity to shift and change. This is the shift of your life. coming from the external focus to the internal focus, will change everything. So this work is a bridge to your active creator self. Stepping into yourself and committing to yourself is taking back your power. So just hold on to your hat. It's never too late. We change the world by changing ourselves. And it wouldn't be about you changing into a different person. It's about you becoming the person that you always were, underneath all that stuff that isn't you. So ignoring the pain and the trauma, it never makes it go away. The resistance just adds energy to that. It's like pouring kerosene onto a fire. If you resist, it persists and it gets bigger. The messages will just get louder. The symptoms will get more difficult. What you resist persists. So it's so much easier to actively choose to step into change than to resist it. So if you get on board with yourself in this time of cataclysmic transformation on this planet, you not only create a safety net for yourself and your friends and family, you get to co-create with all the assistance available to you in the cosmos. Humanity has reached a time and space where it's now easier to step into change than to persistently resist it. So if the universe is going to drag you along anyway, why not consciously jump and harness the momentum? So finding yourself again is an amazing adventure. Learn to work with your emotion instead of against. Learn to heal with energy. Come and join me. So coming soon, I'm going to be creating some online support events for my course recruits so that you can bring your issues and questions and feel even more supported on your journey and to meet others who are courageous enough to commit to themselves in the same way as you. I know this will work for you. If you have a central nervous system, this is going to work. So if for whatever reason you feel that it's not working for you, then please get in touch. I'll make sure that you're able to access the support events. If you're still dissatisfied after 6 months, I will give your money back, but I know you won't be. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck.